Okay, guys, looks like we're about to start this sucker. What is going on, everyone? And I hope you're all doing very well. I see that we've still got plenty of people just filing in here, so give you guys some time. Welcome back to another episode of the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 187. Sunday nights are an excellent time for some Xbox talk. I'm your host, Invader, and I am really pumped and looking forward to tonight's chat. There's lots to talk about with Xbox hiring on Kim Swift, ex-Valve dev there, so exciting stuff. As well, with the unveiling of Windows 11, there is a bunch of features coming in on the PC side of things. As well, there's lots to talk about regarding Killer Instinct recently. Ooh, I love that IP. Will it come back? Well, hey, we'll dive right into that. But, we will get into that and more. However, first, let me introduce tonight's panel. With us tonight, we do have, we're welcoming back GeneralMLD. He's running a little bit behind, but he will be jumping on very, very soon. Let me introduce the TXR regulars here. And Tim, buddy, hey, great to see you here, man. Ready for a good show tonight?
I am. I'm excited to be here. Couldn't make it last week. Came down with a migraine, but I'm very happy to be here and to catch up. I'll go over some of the stuff that I might have missed. But yeah, it's going to be a nice show. Happy to have General MLD here. He's a favorite of mine, and the panel's great. And everyone who's showing up and is filing in right now, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, well said, my friend. Well said. Moving on here, Eric Shockley, buddy. Hey, what have you been up to, brother? You been tinkering around with anything? And any? I know you were showing some. What was it? Game Boy Advance in our group DM there.
Oh yeah, been pretty good. Been a little crazy couple weeks for me, but yeah, I saw that Metroid Dread that dropped, which is pretty cool. They're finally making a sequel to Metroid Fusion. But on top of that, it made those Metroid games, especially the Zero Mission one on the Game Boy Advance, shoot up. So I'm definitely about to sell mine. I think sucker's going for like over close to like 120 on eBay, like sold ones. So they actually sold at that price. So I was like, yeah, time to sell it. Because at this point I'd run everything on like EverDrives off the actual hardware, so basically the same thing. So, but as far as Xbox games, I've been tinkering around with Near Replicant, I think that one, and Need for Speed Remastered that just hit Game Pass. So that's been pretty cool. But man, it's been hilarious on Twitter these past couple of days with this whole Game Pass. So many people thought the copy and pasting was like, oh my God, would you look at this? It's like word for word. It's like that. It's a joke. But they didn't catch on. But it's been hilarious. And just the crying about, oh my God, shut up about Game Pass. I hate this. It's like,
if I could hop in real quick.
I never understand
I wanted to ask you a question real quick, Shockley, on your photo actually in the DMs, because I remember looking at it the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Is there actually a battery in that cartridge?
Yeah, a lot of them have it.
You actually know how to change them?
Oh, it's super easy because there's only like one screw on the back of the cartridge, and you can buy the screwdriver for like a penny or like $1.
Well, because there was some back in the day, like the big Nintendo games, it wasn't a button battery; it was like almost anchored to the board.
Yeah, there's some of those. That's pretty easy too. But yeah, I think on that one, the one I showed you in the picture on that cartridge for the Game Boy, it looks like it just pops right out. It's just
I only get interested in it because I just think it's cool how retro gaming is almost its own world, because the fact of the matter is retro gaming is being kept alive by physically the people that have to take this stuff apart and literally keep it working.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I don't. I know people like obsess are like, yeah, I hate Game Pass, and I want to, because I love physical media. It's going to destroy my physical media, even though new music albums drop on vinyl in 2021. So it's like physical media is not going anywhere. But yeah, I think that's funny. But I mean, if you're the people that are like so obsessed with the physical media, that part I don't understand, because it's like you say, I bought Returnal, right? I bought it digital, but I did see some people bought physical and they're like, yeah, I want to only buy physical. I want to own my games. I'm like, well, that game they pressed on that disc. A lot of people, so it's probably the same game. You just got lucky with your playthrough. But a lot of people with that same press disc can't open doors without that day one patch. So should your servers that they're so scared of go kaput, then you don't have a day one patch and you have a unfinished game pressed on that returnable disc you bought for $70. That's why I bought digital, because I'm not taking these games to the afterlife should there be one. So I don't understand. But I'm totally for it. You want to collect, because I used to collect a lot more until 2020 and the game prices soared, and I was like, this is the time to cash in. Since I run all of them off EverDrives using the actual hardware, so I still get that like feeling of like, hey, I'm playing my old Dreamcast, but everything's coming off my SD card on the hardware. So it's not emulation. It's actual hardware, so you're not having like those bugs that you get with emulation. So, but enough about me. And then we got our next two. Well, we got one guest, but and then Centurion. What's your past week been like?
My past week? Oh my gosh, man. I have actually got some gaming in. I actually played way too much Mass Effect Legendary Edition, going around trying to clear out all the planets before I start tackling the main campaign. I remember how much of a grind that was. But for me, I also got into playing Space Crew, a little random title I bought from the developers of Bomber Crew. And that game, even though as kiddie-like as it comes off when you're just watching the previews, that game is effing hard. I pretty much died the whole ship gone. Third mission in, my entire crew died from radiation poisoning because we got invaded by aliens. No pun intended on that one. And just it's not like I'm Invader. I think you played the original Bomber Crew. I didn't. A lot of the reviews I read about the original Bomber Crew was all it was in the plane, and you just basically dropping bombs and maintaining the main functions of the plane. In Space Crew, they have now made it to where obviously you have to. It's almost like Star Trek. You have to lock in on the space guys that are trying to kill you, and they're everywhere, and you're in an asteroid belt. And while all hell is breaking loose and you're trying to maintain the ship systems, you look over, and one of the spaceships has docked with your spaceship and now has dropped 4 dudes off in your spaceship, and they are just killing everybody.
Damn.
So, yeah, I mean, so this game got chaotic real freaking quick. So I'm trying more and more to actually get better at this game, because the object is, so your crew members are pretty much permadeath. They all have skills. You have a pilot, a co-pilot, the security officer. And as you level them up, they give you more and more skills to make your ship more powerful. If they die, you lose those skills. And as you put more and more research and money into your ship, if by some chance your ship is blown up and destroyed, you start over with a new ship and a new crew with no skills.
Damn. Well, I can't say I've played any of those titles before, but it sounds interesting. I would give it a shot.
Oh, definitely. It was one of those things I watched. I was like, this actually looks strangely, unusually fun.
No, it does. It does. But that's great. That's a great thing about gaming. There's a lot of, unusual titles out there. But hey, if you want to give them a try, go for it. And some of them are pretty damn fun. All right, guys, just a quick reminder before we start off that, to all of you tuning in, that you can find the show on a variety of different audio platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and a load of others. I upload it, and honestly, it's a good thing to have. It's always on the go, and it's a fantastic option to get your TXR on the go. Just, again, we're all about the options here on the show, and if you like listening to us that way, then go right ahead. All right, guys, let's dive right into our first bit of news. And earlier this week, Xbox announced they've hired on former Valve software developer Kim Swift. She'll be a part of Xbox's Game Studios publishing division, specifically overseeing cloud gaming with independent studios. So Xbox seemed to have snagged up a pretty big talented developer here. Let's see. You know what, Tim? I'll hit you up first on this one. What do you think of Xbox hiring Kim Swift on here? Because that's a pretty big name in the industry.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. She's really, revered in the industry. It's a big pickup for XCloud. It's also a big pickup, in my opinion, for the Kojima stuff that's been reported by Jeffrey Grubb. I'm going to go on record and say that his sources are accurate, and that report that he's talking about, and he ties in even Kim with that, is really right on the button. Not because of just my faith in him. It's because I have known something before anybody knew anything. I just always had kept it to myself. And the fact is that I do believe there is a Kojima collaboration or some type of deal with the cloud, and I think that she's brought in part to really push that endeavor. And yeah, it's huge. I think it's a hit to Stadia. It just goes to show you that xCloud is like kind of becoming the in this, whatever you want to call it, the streaming or the way to 3 billion casual gamers or everyone that uses their phones for gaming. I think Xbox is in the forefront right now, and this is a big sign. It's a big signing. It's a big signing. If you want to say it's a free agent, whatever you want to say, it's a big deal. We talked about it in our private chat, in our DM group, and I was like, wow. And I also had talked to some people at Microsoft, and yeah, they share the same enthusiasm that we do. And I think if you read the writing on the wall, this is going to be something that's pushed in the future. It's going to help xCloud, and I do believe it's tied into this whole thing that Jeffrey Grubb is reporting. And I think that if you look at that, that's a huge deal in itself. But again, it's just Microsoft continually pushing the gaming, the gaming portion of their company or Microsoft. And as we talked about, 2 weeks ago, when Satya comes out and he says all in on gaming, this is the type of stuff you're going to see. You're going to see big people in the industry want to come here. It's $2 trillion company now. Stock is at like whatever 246, and it's going up and up and up. This is a lot of opportunity and big money for people to come here, and just think it's the start of it. And again, the Kojima stuff, I'm pretty on solid footing that stuff is real. So just that in itself is huge. And what the cloud-based type gaming thing, it could be anything, but I'm really interested to see what that is. And I don't think people should get worried. It's going to be a game that's obviously played natively on Xbox Series X and S. It's just going to probably have some leveraging in the cloud. Think Crackdown, but for something else. Think what Stadia first proposed that they never really got off and running, whether it be, server group sessions held within the cloud and not, you're not the server where everything's held in the cloud, where you can have massively big multiplayer games. You're not really limited to anything because it's all in the cloud. Think of that type of stuff, those type of ideas, and Kojima and people like this, Hermind and others are just gonna really be interesting where it takes it. But yeah, huge signing for Xbox, but also xCloud. I think is coming into its own now. Got the Xbox cloud servers, the server of the Series X. There's been a lot of positivity towards that for people who've tried it. Yeah, I think that you're going to start to see more of this too.
Yeah. Now, Tim, it's interesting that again you bring up some of these details too regarding Kojima, because going back to either January or December, we were hearing rumblings before that, and they just seem to have caught on more and more. Like I remember around April, beginning of April, there was stuff there, and you were speaking way ahead of the game with regards to Xbox. You know, in talks with Kojima about something going on with some Japanese developers, and they've been very keen they've been very keen with trying to get attention from Japanese game developers to get onto the Xbox ecosystem and, well, cloud gaming and so on. It's interesting that, again, Xbox brings on Kim Swift. She has a great portfolio from Valve alone, considering that she was the lead developer, I believe, on Portal and Left 4 Dead. She's done a few other things, obviously, but she went over to Google Stadia as the game design director. And she, obviously, with Stadia, you're pushing a lot of cloud gaming tech and games. There's all this talk that, again, that Stadia had this deal in place with Kojima or Kojima Productions last summer. The game got canned. It was supposed to be this cloud. It was like heavy on the cloud, apparently. I don't know if it's episodic or not. I just remember some of the rumors from that. Do you think that, like, again, she was brought in specifically because of Kojima, or like just because she's a big name, period, to work with other developers?
I think it's like Jeff reports. It's tied into the Kojima thing. I think the Kojima deal or whatever the collaboration that they're going to have is basically what was rumored for or what was turned down by Stadia. And the reason why I think that she's tied in, I think she was a part of those discussions. And I think obviously Google got cold feet and they probably just didn't want to spend money. And as you know, the way they've been acting, they kind of are half-heartedly going at this. Even Harrison behind the scenes said that they can't compete with Xbox when they signed Bethesda, or I think that was even an article written about that. But yeah, I think that this is a deal that she had some background on, and she obviously probably liked it, and she probably was turned off by Google's, being lukewarm on it, and she followed the project. So I do think that this is all a part of it. I do think that Jeffrey Grubb's reporting on this is accurate. Because like you said, we were talking about this stuff, it's little to be known whether behind the scenes, Kojima was a name that was talked about. It was because of things that, I had heard or had known about. I just didn't know what it was about, nor would I ask or anything like that. But Jeff got the story, and Jeff's story just makes a lot of sense. Kim's, departure of Google and coming to Microsoft, and them specifically saying that she's gonna be working on cloud-based stuff, and it just all ties into what's being reported by Jeffrey Grubb. So I think if you look at that his train of thinking and his reporting on that, that's all accurate, including her. I do feel that she probably wanted to do it with Google, but Google probably pulled funds from it, and they just said, we're not going to do it. And she probably was turned off. And then, obviously people talk in the industry, and she's a big deal, and she came over. I just think overall for Xbox to have a mind like that, and to have a pioneer in a lot of things, in a lot of technical stuff, and to have that mind in Microsoft is a great thing. And it's just great to see that type of talent coming to Xbox. And I remember, like, when Casey Hudson came to my Xbox or Microsoft, we were all excited, but it was for HoloLens. And it was kind of like, oh, okay, that's not great. But this is for Xbox fans is another reason to be very excited. Not only are Xbox going to be putting out all types of variety of games, I think that they're going to really push the future on some things and leverage the cloud in more ways than one. Destructible, environments was the first to try to, come in, but that whole thing got screwed up by Dave Jones, and they kind of try to keep it on, and it didn't go well. But I think that has a future, as well as playing with 1,000 people on a server in a multiplayer environment, and or what else can the cloud bring. So there's going to be ideas, and there's going to be things that come along that are going to be very interesting. And I'm happy that Xbox is not just doing traditional gaming. They're opening the horizons, and they're looking to the future, and they're going to use their cloud and their infrastructure to make gaming better.
You're absolutely right. We got 2 super chats from Dirt Griggity. Hey buddy, great to see you here as always. Always a good time when Dirt Griggity's around. What's up, fellas? Good to see MLD on. I'm a big fan of his content. Yeah, me too, brother. Shout out to Uncle Tim Dog for killing it on WBG last week. Good show, fellas. Yeah, Tim, I forgot you were on that show. I popped in there. Really good show. He also says, and I quote, "I hope the Kojima deal is real, not because I love Kojima, but because I want to see ponies cry." Shan786. Oh, man, too funny, brother, too funny. Well, we have some talk here in the chat. Some people going back and forth about, is Kojima a big deal to have on the platform? Some people, there's some people really like his content, and then there's the other, the flip side where they're like, oh, he's kind of overrated. Me, I'm just kind of like, well, it'd be nice to see some more exclusive Japanese content and to see what he can do, especially with a big publisher like Microsoft behind him fully. And it's interesting too that Tim, that you bring up Jeff Grubb, because he said that the deal for the game that they're working on, it's close to being signed, and it's so far in that it's not going to not get signed. So obviously, I mean, this is pretty much a for sure thing that's going to happen. Basically it just seems like behind the scenes that everything from what Jeff Grubb is seeing is that it's a for sure thing. Who knows when we're going to see the first trailer for this sucker? It's probably a year off, but I don't know, because I think a guy like Kojima bringing on, his taste might not be for me, but he could be a big get to attract other big Japanese developers to him and lots of independent Japanese content towards the platform.
Didn't Windows Central and Eurogamer corroborated Jeff Grubb's story, like on the I guess it was the Kojima talk. I guess they were like, now that Jeff's like openly talking about it a little bit more, that they could share what they had. I forget the guy's name there at Windows Central, not Jez, but
Miles Napier,
yeah.
I think. Yeah, and I had talked to Miles way back when, and Miles was one of the few people that had known some of the stuff that I had known. And what I'd known basically was there was a meeting held, and specifically Kojima was there. So that's all I had known. But when I thought of it, it did make sense that if he's going to be in a meeting, there's something behind there. They're not just meeting because they're friends. They're meeting for a business deal. And it all lines up to really Jeff's timeline with this. And he's done some great reporting on this. And like I said, that was something that I had known before nobody knew. Like, nobody was talking about it. Yeah. I remember we were laughing about it, and like the group DM, like nobody believed it. Like, and then I still people don't believe it or they don't want to. Now, as far as Kojima, I'm not a huge fan of his games, but I do recognize that the guy is an industry icon and he's somebody that brings a ton of stuff to the table. He brings a ton of excitement to the platform. He brings a ton of his own diehard fans that will definitely come on to Xbox platform or PC to play his games. They're not going to, you know, if they hate Microsoft, they're not going to not play the game. He's that big of a, you know, a needle pusher. So having him definitely would be a huge thing. And honestly, I think that he'd be perfect for Microsoft in a lot of aspects for Japan if they want to kind of build out Japan or get some studios over there. And I know that's one of Phil's whatever his goals is for the longest time was to get a studio in Japan or studios, but there's a lot of roadblocks there. I don't think it's as easy as it is in other countries. I do think that they have laws and whatever you want to say, you know, maybe a lot much faith, and or maybe they just kind of feel like they don't want to deal with an American company. I don't know what that deal is, but he would love. I know he would love to grow there, and maybe Kojima is the guy that can kind of help that, move that. If this deal goes well, the game goes well, and
they could definitely buy some Japanese studios. That wouldn't be a problem at all. You already see Bethesda, you know, not a Japanese company, bought Tango Gameworks, which they have a Japanese studio now. I think it's just more when you're trying to buy bigger conglomerates with them, like if you're trying to buy like, you know, Nintendo or something, that's where you're going to have to go through a lot of red tape and it's going to be kind of difficult. Yeah. Not impossible, but like buying Sega would probably be a little bit more difficult. Right. Or like Konami that makes medical equipment. So that kind of ties into like their own, you know, country, because Konami actually makes a lot of their medical equipment, not just pachinko machines and games. But buying like a smaller studio, like one that's, you know, small and kind of growing that talent, I mean, I'm sure they could probably do something like that since, well, they already have Tango. So, I mean, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point too, because Tango Gameworks is they're growing a bit too. Obviously, they're working on Ghostwire Tokyo, but you know they have a big name in Shinji Mikami over there, who was the original director of the original Resident Evil and Dino Crisis, a guy who knows how to make a good game. You know, obviously they just came off a couple of Evil Within games. I just started playing them. Damn, they are really creepy but really good. But yeah, they like you said, they could go after a couple of smaller studios. I wouldn't mind them going after, let's say, White Owl or even whatever the heck. What's that guy? We were talking about him before. His name is eluding me. But the guy who was at Valhalla. Damn, his name. Anyways, yeah, but the whole Kojima thing, I think that. I don't know, there seems like there's just too much to this for it to not be real, and with all these different outlets coming out about these talks, guys, we're gonna have seems like we're gonna have a Kojima game, and you know, I'm just really curious to see how this will be unfolded and how they'll announce it. Centurion, I'm interested on your input on this one. Going back to the original title, what do you think of Kim Swift being brought in and possibly to work on Kojima for like one of the first big deals with her coming in?
What do I think? I think it's really awesome. I remember dabbling in Portal and some of the games she dealt with back in the day. Man, there has been rumors circling with Kojima and what he got going on and what's going on with the Japanese market and Xbox. There has just been this whirlwind of rumors and speculation that has just been, man, I don't even know how to describe it. But you know, Microsoft is making some big moves over there. They're selling Xboxes, at least from what I see at record numbers. They're seeing some really good growth over in that economy. And we know Xbox wants to really kind of help get xCloud off its feet and the cloud infrastructure that they've built. And I really don't see a better way of doing that than kind of the direction that they're taking. Because if we really look over in that part of the world, there is a much more heavier emphasis on handheld gaming than there is over here, even though everybody's got a cell phone in their pocket. Cell phones and handheld hardware is not their main source of gaming, where over in the Asian market, they love handheld gaming. And I just really feel if they have somebody like her and somebody like Kojima right next to the xCloud infrastructure, and that way they can definitely show some value, at least for people to want to invest over there into xCloud. And man, over here in the States, this part of the world, the cloud gaming stuff is completely exploding. Everybody's trying to hop on that bandwagon. I mean, T-Mobile signed a deal with Microsoft, for God's sakes, to kind of put Game Pass in everybody's hands with the xCloud. So you guys know a little bit more about Kim Swift than I do. I will be truthful. I've been doing some reading up on her this weekend, just kind of getting her whole bio. And man, for what she's done for the industry already and for how young she is, completely blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. I'll admit I don't know how old she is off the top of my head, but I mean, she does look pretty young.
Was featured in Fortune. Well, I don't know how old she is now. You know, we don't get into that, but at least some of the articles I read, she was featured in Fortune magazine's like 30 under 30 or something like that. Basically, she did a lot before she was even over the age of 30 for gaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, her portfolio is very impressive. Again, coming from Valve and the games that she's led on is impressive alone. Now, for her to, again, take the disappointment from Google Stadia and to bring it over to, to Xbox, because, again, I would imagine that they told her about, what Kojima was working on, and Phil was just gonna... Yeah, I would imagine that he would want to jump on that as soon as he heard the words Kojima, that name. That, I'm pretty sure that rang pretty well in his head. So,
Xbox has been doing a lot of head turning this generation, and that would just be another head turn in Microsoft's direction if the word Kojima was to be muttered.
Yeah. Like, again, I'm not saying that his games are necessarily for me, but at the same time... I would give them a shot, especially, again, Game Pass, right?
Right. It's kind of like, let's use Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino is not exactly your, everyday movie director that everybody wants to go line up and see, but he definitely makes some really good, serious cult classics, and there is definitely a fan base there for him, just like Hideo Kojima.
Mm-hmm. See, now you're making me want to watch From Dusk Till Dawn, damn it. Such a
I know,
movie.
right?
I mean, for Salma Hayek alone. But yeah, guys, I mean, definitely let us know in the chat how you guys feel about that. I see a very strong conversation going on about Kojima. Guys, again, you don't have to play his games. It's just, we all have opinions on it, but there's a lot of variety coming to the Xbox ecosystem in any case. It's a good sign that they want to go after top talent in the industry, whether he's to your taste or not. I totally understand it. I get it. But I think all of us on the panel agree that having a guy like Kojima recruited and his studio it's a big deal. And it's a big deal of a shift from, again, like Japanese talent, like working with Xbox, especially the big names. But hopefully in the coming, who knows? I mean, if this game is so early on in development, hopefully in the coming months we get to see something from this. But
well, if Kojima is involved and we're on Kojima time, we will see that game sometime in 2030. I'm joking.
Possibly with multiple
and I'm
CGI
not saying
trailers.
Because he's slow. We all know Kojima is known for just taking his time.
Well, hey man, I don't mind methodical as long as there's a good game put out. So, right, with no bugs and everything like that.
methodical. I wonder how much thought went into the concept of going into a bathroom stall and turning your own poop into a weapon.
You make a good point. But I just mean like just the craftsmanship in the game alone. But yes, you are correct about that detail itself.
But the comment I just made, you got to throw in the word craftsmanship.
Well, again, I'm not necessarily talking about. Well, I was gonna say craftsmanship, but yes.
It's like, let's not bring crafting and bodily fluids into this.
Okay. Oh man, yeah. Well, either way, I mean, coming from Metal Gear and whatnot, I mean, I want to see what he can do, especially with Microsoft behind him. But either way, guys, I think we'll move on to something else. But again, Kojima would just be pretty cool to have on in any case. Moving on to some other news, fellas. And a few days ago, Xbox announced the Design for Xbox program, or I should say, this program has been around for a while, but specifically for the high-end gaming monitors. And again, this is an already established label and a guarantee of quality across a range of accessories. Now Microsoft has partnered with Philips, Asus, and Acer to include their monitors as designed for Xbox Series consoles. They support HDR, VRR, 4K at 120 Hz, and the like. Some stuff some features that are really, really associated with the Xbox Series consoles and separates them from, other ones. So some pretty cool news here. You know what, Tim, I'll hit you up again on this one since I know you're a pretty big tech guy and you like your monitors, your TVs, and all that. What do you think of Xbox expanding their licensed partners to include like high-end monitors now?
Honestly, I kind of find it to be a money grab. It's good. It's good that they have these partnerships, especially that they get like the features such as VRR and certain things, put on the TVs. But for my money, or for anybody, my advice for any of them, like I know that they just came out and has a backlight on it. For that type of money, for the 1,500, I would honestly look into the LGs, or some of the some of the Sony OLEDs, or basically I would look into the LG. If you're a gamer, for me, LG OLEDs are the only way to go. LG, I feel, is the best. When I say it's like night and day, it really is a big difference. So if you're in that, looking to buy a TV for a gaming system, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, the OLEDs are the way to go. LG specifically, I would recommend, and use artings.com as your reference. They do the best, most in-depth quality. They go into everything, and they test it, and they look into everything, like burn-in, all the possible side effects, all the possible
Tim Dog, to piggyback on that, I totally picked up on my ears when he's talked about ratings. I loved watching their burn-in tests with televisions, because they literally create a static image with watermarks at different opacity to basically destroy a television. They literally destroy a television before your eyes with burn-in, and it's like crazy to watch.
Yeah. But so overall, for the question, look into that. Also look into like support for the new Dolby Vision for gaming. I know that the LG line, from CX up to the C1s to the G1s, they have the Dolby Digital support. But that's all Microsoft getting involved with these TV manufacturers. I think they've done a really, really good job. On the flip side, Sony has not, and Sony's a TV manufacturer themselves, and they still can't get VRR on their own TV. So I don't know what the holdup is there. But it's great that Xbox really, since 2017, have actively pushed these types of partnerships, from Samsung to LG to now this new line of monitors that are coming out. I just listen, when you're going to LED compared to OLED. I just, especially if it's an IPL panel, there's like, it's not worth it. In my opinion, it's not even debatable. The picture quality is so much better. The overall look of it is just so vibrant on a OLED. It looks amazing. Um, and there's little downfalls, there's downsides. Like, you have to be a little bit aware of burn-in, but if you're in that range of money, look at these. Even if you can get a C9 or C9 OLED, or I had that 48 inch. I got that 48 inch CX, which is my monitor. It is the most amazing TV. I play the show, and I play it comparatively to a 65 inch E7 that I have upstairs. It's and they're both OLEDs, but the CX
Damn, Tim
is
Dog
just
is overlord in it.
yeah. I listen. I am the first. I remember telling Mike Ybarra about OLEDs and how great they were, and I had a 1080p OLED. I had the in 2016 or 15. I had the 1080p G1 or G. What was it? I think it was a G9100. Unbelievable curved OLED LG, and that sold me on LG. So I've had every every jump up. Like, I don't have the C1, but the only reason why I don't have the C1 is because I specifically don't have a spot. So I'm kind of hoping like my C7 blows up or something, which it never will happen, or gets burned in, because I don't have a spot, to be honest, at this moment. So, but yeah, I've gotten OLEDs from since 2015, and I'm a big proponent of it. And like I said, when you get into gaming, it's the only way to go. And it is also great that Xbox has partnered up with all these different TV manufacturers, like Dolby Vision, and whether it's, they've gotten the VRR out. And there's going to be more of this type of stuff you'll see, especially with the XCloud integration and the app. That's going to be another really cool thing that you'll see with the partnerships. You'll see TVs with the native XCloud Game Pass app, and you'll be able to basically turn on your TV, go to XCloud, and you can play a game instantaneously from the cloud. You can buy a game instantaneously and play it instantaneously. And that's what the whole XCloud servers, X Server X is, and the I think I don't know if we discussed it last week, or we're going to discuss it this week. I looked at the topics. I don't know if it was there, like with the Windows 11, and they showed how you could just basically go to your web app and just play it. That's going to be on your TV too. You're basically going to go to like an app that says Game Pass. You're gonna click on it with your controller, and you're gonna be able to play directly off the cloud, off of Server X, and just do that. And that's a pretty cool thing, especially if you get that out for the masses. For me, I'd be very interested in just getting it too, just to see it and see how it runs. But yeah, it's good stuff. I'm very excited about Xbox really making a lot of good moves lately.
Yeah, and we had commented before too about, again, Xbox making these partnerships with various television brands Samsung, especially in Asia too, actually, for XCloud initiatives. They're being really smart about what they're doing too, and we're gonna see the fruits of this. Well, I would think in the next year or so, like really, really starting to pick up, depending on how much they really push XCloud and Game Pass in, let's say, the Asian markets. Well, worldwide, really, but specifically those ones. And I know that we talked about them having LG partnerships as well. So that's why, like, again, for them to go all in on even these monitors now too, with Philips, Asus, and Acer, I mean, they're really, really doubling, tripling down on what they're doing. They're being so aggressive out of all the big console makers on this thing. They really want to be in everybody's homes.
Which OLED is it? The CX series for the LG? Is that the one you have? For the one that most people
I have
are
the
going.
CX. Now they have the C1. The CX recently just got confirmed by I think his name is FOMO to have he actually reached out to LG, and they said that the CX will get Dolby Vision support, but legacy of like the C9, which I have, it's a great TV, might not get it. So yeah,
I keep looking at that CX, but the TCL keeps getting closer. I know it's not an OLED, but it's they have that mini LED technology now in their newer series. Right. That other than it being an OLED, but
yeah, I mean, look at Artings, and I mean, I've heard some of the other stuff like the micro LED. I have seen it, but like my eye is just so trained for OLEDs. Like I could like it's so lush and they're becoming cheap. Like that 48-inch is now, I saw it for $1,100. I mean, you just need that TV for gaming. That's all you need, man. It's that good.
That's my only gripe right now. I don't know if it's the TV or if it's something just with Dolby Vision and Xbox just being in its infancy with like Dolby Vision gaming. Because I've been using Dolby Vision, clicking that on because my TV supports it with that TCL. But some games, it looks okay because I feel like the colors are a little bit more accurate. But some of it just seems kind of washed out when I flip to Dolby Vision and Dolby Vision comes on my TCL, which is weird because I don't have that issue when Dolby Vision comes on my TV watching stuff on Netflix or content.
Yeah, it's
so I'm not sure if it's like if it's just the TCL or if it's like
no, it's the infancy, it's the code.
Oh, okay.
I would think by the time Halo hits, that the Dolby Vision will be kind of squared away. Even I don't know what your TCL is running, but like the versions for the LG are beta. So
okay,
you're gonna run into some of that stuff, and
this one's
bottom line is that you might not even have a use for it, but it's still great to have that option. I mean, I'm a big Dolby Vision fan, so I'm glad that the CX got the coverage because if it didn't, I'd be
I did think it would look better when I picked up the Master Collection, that Ninja Gaiden, which is weird because none of those games have any HDR or auto HDR. That's just all off. But on Ninja Gaiden 2 on the 360, that auto HDR comes on, and it looks good. But I did notice some of the that picture I showed in the chat, in our chat there. The reds were kind of blurred, and you couldn't really see where one red pole ended and the other one started. But when I flipped on Dolby Vision, it did kind of, I don't know, bring some of the colors a little bit down, but the HDR was there, but it had it more defined where you could actually see it wasn't like too overly saturated. So it's weird that I can get HDR on that and Dolby Vision to click on for a 360 game, but not Sigma 2 on the Master Collection. I thought that was odd. I was like, really? Can't I get HDR on this, but I can get it on my 360 backwards compatibility? Okay. But
yeah,
but we'll see.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, I remember you sharing the pictures in the DM, and I was like, what am I supposed to be looking for here? Because they looked very similar, but I could tell that the lighting in the background wasn't. There were some differences there. I mean, I remember I got it wrong. I got it wrong, which was kind of interesting. But because yeah, you were talking about the differences in the reds, right?
There is, yes. I mean, some of the things do look a little bit better. Like I was playing Dragon Quest 11. I think some of the fire and the lanterns that are really brightly lit kind of look sometimes better with the Dolby Vision because it's not too. Sometimes the auto HDR kind of like just overly saturates a little bit, even though it's still pretty good. But the greens in Dragon Quest, if you play that, it's like Breath of the Wild when you're seeing like the green grass everywhere. That just pops on the default HDR10, and the Dolby Vision kind of tones it down, kind of washes it out a little bit, but it just kind of tones it down. Where it's kind of like when you're playing Breath of the Wild, that green grass is kind of toned down from what they showed us back in 2014, and when it looked like way better, and then it got ported to the Switch and didn't look as good from that first reveal. But yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. But I guess once I haven't tried Gears, I think that one's supposed to be natively supporting it, so I think I need to download that and try that Dolby Vision on that. I believe that one is one of the ones. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and we'll hopefully see some more in the future here soon. So,
yeah, no, agreed, Shockley. But yeah, I mean, it's. Like I'm really interested in like different TV and monitor technology. It's funny, everybody's in the chats talking about the LG CX and whatnot. That's actually one that I've been keeping an eye on. I kind of want to pick up a new TV in the next year. And yeah, I mean, like everyone's saying, once you go OLED, you can't really go back. Like just the difference between the color, the depth, the black and so on, just how clear everything is. It looks really sharp, and it's hard to keep your eyes off of them. So yeah, that's something that I'm gonna have to look at. But yeah, guys, Xbox is very much involved with all these different monitor and TV makers, and yeah, they got a lot more in store for us. It's something to keep an eye on in any case. Okay, we will move over to some other news. And earlier this month, Microsoft announced earlier this week, I should say, Microsoft announced Windows 11. It's a big step for the OS, but it also sees some big upgrades on the gaming front, not just productivity like it's known for, featuring DirectX 12 Ultimate, direct storage, and auto HDR, just to name a few key features. Shockley, buddy, what do you think of these featured additions to Windows 11? Is this Microsoft really embracing PC gaming technology?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to check out too much of that on that one, but yeah, I definitely like that they're bringing a lot of those features that I've been asking for with like the auto HDR. And hopefully that'd be cool if they do bring backwards compatibility. I don't think they probably will, but if they can somehow get that to work, that'd be awesome if you could get some of your 360 games on there. But yeah, just bringing the audio HDR, what did I say? Auto HDR. Now the only thing I've had issues though with Windows, and I think a lot of other people have with Windows 10, is when you try to use HDR, at least maybe when I'm not playing a game, or it's just sometimes it kind of like is funky with Windows 10 where it's kind of like washing out everything. Sometimes I just turn that shit off. But I do like I know some people are kind of ragging on it, like, oh, looking like Mac OS, which I totally fine when they start to kind of like streamline. That's one great thing that Apple does, is kind of like make some of their software a little bit more intuitive and streamlined from a user interface point of view. And apparently people were kind of on it about like it not being able to work with like what was it, eighth gen? It was either 7th or 8th gen or lower like CPUs. So that was like cutting out like all this brand new surfaces that are out there. But I've seen plenty of people being able to run it on their Surface. So I'm not sure if that was. I think people like data mined or not, or got it somewhere. I don't think Microsoft's like officially. They just had an official tool, but it sounds like it's working on a lot of other CPUs that wasn't initially reported on. So, but yeah, some of those features like the direct storage support, auto HDR, that'll be great for gaming, and just bring out some of the more of those features that they've been aiming on on the Xbox side to Windows 11. That would be pretty cool. So, and I guess it's a free update. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to. When is it? When did they say it launched? I know it's just like an insider program right now, but
I think it's coming out. I could be mistaken, but I believe it was the fall. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, so not too far away, couple of months. But yeah, DirectX 11 Ultimate, for example, it includes like ray tracing 11, variable rate shading, sampler feedback, and a few other things. But just like a lot of stuff that doesn't require a lot of doesn't hog like PC resources. There's a few things in there, like actually there was some interesting stuff in there too, like they're going to be supporting Android apps now on the Microsoft Store, which is interesting. They're being very open with Windows, so I mean that's a good sign there. Like, I don't know, I just like it's good to see this. Obviously, with more games coming onto the Windows Store and Game Pass Ultimate for PC, again we're gonna be seeing more titles on there, and I'm glad that they're embracing PC gaming more and more. It's gonna be a very strong suit for them. That's why I'll be curious to see if they go after like PC focus like devs or publishers in the near future. I would not be surprised. I'm keeping my ears open to that. But yeah, just very, very cool stuff. Centurion, do you have any thoughts on like the Windows 11, like some of these features coming into the PC gaming arena here?
Well, I'll be absolutely 100% honest. I don't really get too much into PC gaming, but it is nice to see Microsoft is taking, at least from an outsider looking in, my perspective, they are really wanting to take PC gaming much more serious. We've seen a much more heavier emphasis on getting games on PC. We've got Game Pass PC. Microsoft has definitely focused a lot more on PC and where they stand in gaming, and they want to probably see themselves as a decent gaming platform, just like some of the other big guys. So this doesn't surprise me at all that they are putting a little bit more laser focused emphasis on making sure that Windows can definitely stand up as a platform that you can use to basically run your gaming rig on.
No, absolutely. No, it's a good sign, and you could tell that, like, again, like Xbox used to just be, when I was under Terry Myerson, for example, underneath like the Windows section PC, like Xbox wasn't as loved, and now you go you step ahead to now, and it's like you see the gaming features being improved, and there is more of a symbiosis in the way that Xbox and like Microsoft is running in comparison to how it used to be. Before, they used to be very separate, and now you see them like really working together, all these different departments, and it's great. Stuff.
And the blend between PC and Xbox has been so it has actually kind of changed gaming in a way that we don't really ever think too much about. But every time, at least this is the way I look at it, every time we play a game backwards compatible, that was made possible because Microsoft chose to blend PC and gaming. Tim Dog, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't x86 originally, was it that like PC code before it eventually got brought into gaming?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, it was. They're basically intertwined, and the more
Microsoft
we talk about
pushed forward on that.
Yeah, yes, but listen, all the stuff with the Windows stuff. To me, listen, I think a PC and a laptop, those things are kind of in my opinion, yesteryear. I think it's great to have a PC, and to have something, that can play games and stuff like that. But there's no threat or there's anything. The way Xbox is going about is the way they're complementary to each other, and I love that everything is getting its support, and all the stuff is going, but they're tied in together. They're basically the same. It's not just becoming an afterthought of like people realizing when you have digital media or you have digital games and stuff like that, you carry that. That's like something in your wallet. It shouldn't just you want to carry your wallet or all around with you and be able to play those games whenever you want, wherever you want. And accessibility is great. It's not like we're not in 2006 where if you want to play a game, you just have to, run to your house, get a device that's underneath your TV and put power on. We're way ahead of that. And Microsoft was like way ahead of everyone on that. And they've planned and they've built this to the point where it's streamless. It's like seamless. And it's just good to see. And I like the support that they do for PC gamers because some people actually like to game on PC more than they do on console. I would say that that's definitely the minority, but it's great that they are supporting that. And maybe because that in the past hasn't been the biggest demographic for Xbox. They kind of didn't give it as much attention. Now they're giving it attention. They're bringing all these things from Xbox Series X, and they're bringing it to PC, and that's the way it should be. Because PC is like, to me, I don't even think I'll have a PC in the next my PC I rarely use now. I mean, I could maybe just use a laptop, but everything I do business wise and some of the stuff it could even be elaborate, anything is done through my phone, and that's just my opinion is that the future is basically you'll always have a console, you could have a laptop, this and that, but your phone is your digital device that you're going to carry around, and that'll give you that accessibility. So it's great that they're supporting all of this stuff, and it's exciting.
No, well said, Tim. Well said. In some kind of related news, I don't know if anybody here noticed, but Xbox's Jason Ronald announced that AMD's super sampling tech, Fidelity FX, we had talked about this, I think, at least a month or so ago. It's now available to developers for Xbox Series X and S, and also the Xbox One consoles. I mean, hey guys, it's always nice to get some new tool sets and updated for that. And AMD and Xbox seem to have like a special kind of relationship right now, a friendship, if you will. So it's great to see them taking advantage of that. But yeah, I mean, either way, it's nice to see them being very, again, forward-thinking on the PC side of things. And I'm just, I'm just really excited. I wouldn't mind doing some more PC gaming myself, but I totally understand Tim's position too, where, I mean, it just may not, affect some others. So, either way, it's a cool initiative, and I do like what they are doing on that front. Okay, guys, we will move on to, I guess will appear to be our last topic of the night, and Killer Instinct is a game that has a lot of reverence. It's got a big following, especially since the successful 2013 reboot on the Xbox One. We've been hearing that Xbox wants to continue on with the series for a while now. And as of a few days ago, different Xbox heads are coming out talking about possibly having another, game that they want to develop. And recently, speaking with the Dropped Frames podcast about revisiting the IP, Xbox head Phil Spencer stated that, and I quote, The response when we redid KI at the launch of the Xbox One was fantastic. I will just say, Matt and I have discussed many times KI and where we would like to go with it. And it's not out of our minds that it might not be out of our minds, but it's in our hearts and in our minds that we want to continue to do something with KI. So, I mean, that's very telling. You can see Phil's appreciation for the IP. Now, Centurion, I'll admit, I don't know if you've ever been into KI, Killer Instinct, but Xbox seems to, well, they seem very keen to want to continue on with it. Do you think that they will find a studio, a developer to make a new entry to the series?
Man, I have been mowing this over in my head since I saw the topics, and I will be truthful. I never got on that Killer Instinct hype train. I remember playing some Killer Instinct back in the day. I never really got into it. I was more of a Mortal Kombat guy. But we'll get into Mortal Kombat here in a minute. Killer Instinct, though, I have heard a lot about it. Definitely when it comes to games that came out when the Xbox One first came out, the games that everybody seemed to still talk about outside of on Sunset Overdrive and Rise, Killer Instinct always comes up in the conversation. I do need to check it out one day, but it is good to see that Microsoft, there has been so many discussions. There has been so many different people that have come out. Wasn't it one of the developers of Killer Instinct came out and said that he wanted to continue doing it just like a year or so back?
Yeah, I think it was one of the developers from Iron Galaxy, if I'm not mistaken. They had worked on seasons 2 and 3, and those turned out really well.
So when it comes to will they find a studio, I'm just trying to think in my head who they would basically use to do that right now. I know there's this is kind of like a two-part subject. So I don't really know anybody under the platform right now, but I know that Microsoft could potentially acquire somebody, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to really acquire somebody to do Killer Instinct. I really do believe they're going to use somebody in-house. I just don't have an idea of who it would be.
Right. Well, you can't see them going out to buy a studio to work on KI?
I can see them going out and buying a studio, yes, but the studio that I have in mind that we're probably leaning towards, which would be NetherRealm, I don't really see WB or AT&T letting loose of their clutches yet of that studio, and that just happens to go into the wording of what took place with them. And did you want to at least give that part of the subject, or did you want me to say it?
Oh, no, you can go into it if you'd like.
Well, obviously, that was the acquisition of EA with Playdemic.
Yes.
Now, Playdemic, I really wanted to kind of dig into this. I watched a few videos on it. Heck, I even got and sat down and watched a 20-minute video from a gentleman who is actually a lawyer that would actually talk about this. When you look at the wording of what was said, at least from Business Wire, not Microsoft. Oh my God. EA wanted to acquire Playdemic purely to get their portfolio more diverse into the idea of sports microtransactions, in my opinion. Just because the golf game that was involved, apparently that they had been making a very, very successful golf game over at Playdemic. It was making them a lot of money, but AT&T had no idea what to do with this thing. And so they just kind of in a pretty much backdoor auction sold this developer off to EA, very hush hush. It wasn't done by normal means, but after they sold off Playdemic, the gentleman over at WB did make some studio, or AT&T. Oh my God, there's too many damn companies. Dude, have you seen how many companies they got going over there at AT&T? AT&T, WB, and Discovery. and somehow Discovery is their own separate entity that is teamed up with AT&T, and AT&T owns Warner Brothers. And now EA bought Playdemic for $1.4 billion in cash. Not liquid assets, not investing, not promises. This was a $1.4 billion cash purchase to basically, and it even says in the wording that all this money is not going to WB. It is going to AT&T. And the whole reason why that they are going to want a cash purchase is because they are in the red, probably more than likely in a couple of their books, and they are trying to squash that out. So they need a huge cash infusion right now. And when they came out and sold Playdemic, they said that they are wanting to concentrate on gaming for WB's, the actual studio company, Warner Brothers, not the gaming company. They want to continue making games for Warner Brothers storied franchises. We're talking games like Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, anything that's been on the silver screen. Underneath that Warner Brothers logo, and I don't really see them letting go of their clutches of when it comes to NetherRealm Studios, because NetherRealm Studios, I believe Rockstar, the companies that did the Batman games, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat, all of those companies give WB or AT&T, it gives those franchises value. And I don't really see them wanting to basically get rid of the value of those franchises by selling off the companies that have helped kind of fuel them. And yeah, it'd be great if NetherRealm got bought up and they used them to make another Killer Instinct. I just don't see that happening. Now, you never know. All of a sudden, they could hit a major speed bump in the road and need to make money quick, and then they just start selling stuff off hand over fist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
Sorry, that was a ramble.
No, you can ramble. I rambled all the time. You always stop. You got to stop apologizing. You have a lot of good opinions, and you're always well thought out. But aside from that, I agree with you. You made a very good points why they would keep the thing. The thing that I am a total proponent of, and I would tell Phil to him, I don't care by hook or crook. I would totally license out the Killer Instinct to NetherRealm, even if Xbox didn't buy them, and it could be a multi-plat game, just maybe be day one on Game Pass as part of the deal. But I really want that. That's like my biggest want right now is a Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat Worlds Collide game, and have Mortal Kombat completely take over the intellectual property of Killer Instinct, meaning that they can make Saberwolf the way they want to make him, the McGlacier, they basically redo those characters in the Mortal Kombat engine, and then like have them have two worlds, and then they collide and they both have to fight. And I think that would be so freaking cool. I wouldn't care if it's multi-plat. I just want the game to be made. Or if that's not going to happen, I don't know. I would be okay with going to. I don't think Iron Galaxy wants to make it, but maybe throw some money at Iron Galaxy to do Killer Instinct 2, because it's hard to get those specific type fighting developers. Like you have to. It's kind of like a niche. It's not like a normal game developer. So by hook or crook, I think that they should try to get Killer Instinct somehow on the console again, and in playable form. Whether that's I would love a purchase of NetherRealm, but it's probably too complicated, too much money, or it's just too valuable. But I would also be open to just completely licensing or giving them that idea of taking the game, making a full game for NetherRealm that they can sell all over the place, and be Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. I would love that idea. Or option 3. Iron Galaxy, or find somebody or build a studio. Maybe they can do an initiative type studio. I would think that it would have to be like 50 to 100 developers, and they could snatch some of specific talent to make just this game. I think that it's worth it. Fighting is a huge, very very it's big. It's a big genre. They can make a lot of money, and they made a lot of money with Killer Instinct. So they have something where they have a great IP, they have a great idea, and I would love to see it happen. So that's like my biggest want right now. It used to be I wanted a major a baseball game on Xbox, but the show was done by Phil and Xbox, and that was great. Now this is my new big want for Xbox. I really would love for them to get Killer Instinct being worked on somehow, some way.
Yeah, I thought that what you brought up, what I was probably going to mention, is like this answer should be pretty simple. It's like Iron Galaxy, because I mean, right now they've been working mostly on like ports from what I show, and I guess the last game was Extinction back in 2018, so I don't even know what they're working on right now, unless it's another port, because that's what they've been doing a lot lately.
I heard they don't want to. Not to interrupt, but I heard for some reason that they didn't want to work with X to do it. That they don't want to work on the IP. I don't know if that's what I heard, but I don't know if that's completely true. I thought I read something, but go on.
No, but yeah, it's just too bad they weren't into buying mode, like back in 2014 when Double Helix got bought up. Like had Double Helix finish the job, and we got to what was it 2016 when they finished season 3 too. When Phil got promoted in 2017, if they just made it a little bit longer, they probably would have gotten bought up, because obviously they wanted to get bought up, but since Amazon picked them up, and so far they've just been making, I think, mobile games now for Amazon. But that one's too bad, because they were the ones, when I go back, I was watching Maximilian's video, and he was kind of like where it came from, and it was supposed to be like an Xbox Live game, because we were like, how did this game just come out of nowhere, as far as like, why did they decide to make it? But it was that team in Double Helix that were like really like passionate about it, like, oh, this seems like a cool IP we could license, we could get made. And then and that's why you kind of saw it get made in the way it did, where it was kind of like, you had like 4 or 6 like characters, and you could just play the game. It was like free to play game when it launched.
Yeah, pretty much.
You basically it would tell you like you could play Jago this month, and then next month you could play this month. So you wouldn't have to pay for it, but they did give you some options there. So they were the ones that were really passionate about it, and then when they got bought up, then Amazon, I guess, probably told them to, you're not doing that anymore, and then that's why they had to switch it to Iron Galaxy, who's done a great job. But yeah, like you said, it sounds like from what you're saying that they want to move on to something else. But I wonder what that something else is, because there is nothing that I can find on Wikipedia that they've making in the past couple of years, other than a 2019 port of Overwatch.
I don't think they've announced anything yet. It's probably, I don't know, who knows at this point.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting because, again, that you're absolutely right when you bring that up, Shock. Like when they announced that 2013 game by Double Helix, everybody was just like blown away. You talk about Maximilian, it's just like that announcement was just like shocking, because I remember they had announced that like, oh yeah, we're like a year before it, oh, we're renewing the license or whatever, the trademark for Killer Instinct, and everyone's like, I wonder why they're they're just.
But yeah,
talking
no
about
one
that
thought like it'd been too long, because like even Max was like, wait, what the fuck? There's no way this thing's been gone since like the N64, and even then it wasn't like a big game. So, but back then they had people that were really passionate about that game, and then they also had Ken Lobb, who's still at Microsoft, so I'm sure he could lend some help. But yeah, they had a lot of good people from the original Rare team too, like to really kind of help. So, but they do definitely need to keep, if they do make another Killer Instinct, definitely, and I think they will, because they've had Max they paid Max to come in. He did some consulting with them. So yeah, definitely get him and some of the other people in the community to really like help. What do you think we can do, especially if it's going to be a completely new team to touch the IP. Right. So.
Well, I mean, another option would be maybe they could come to an agreement with Amazon and say, hey, you could have this game, go on your platform as well as ours, and we'll just have it on those two and have, Double Helix rework on this. Whether they still have the talent that's there, they probably bastardize the company now, and it's probably not
who knows if those guys that were passionate about it are still there, because that was 2014 the last time they touched it. So
they should have bought Double Helix. If they were in today's mode, they would have bought them. But listen,
Bill was just taking over when they got bought. So
and they did a good job of getting a studio to just handle it. Iron Galaxy did a really good job. But again, I think it's specific talent, and it'd be great though if they could somehow, some way get this content on, Xbox for us to play. But I mean, truth be told, if they could get Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat, to me that just makes so much sense. So cool to have like Saber Wolf versus Sub-Zero, or Glacier versus Sub-Zero. So many cool things that they could, have, and it'd be great.
Mm-hmm. It'd be really cool. What they do need to focus on is getting more of the Japanese fighting games. Like, why are they missing out on Guilty Gear? Things like that. Just dropped.
That's strange. That's
definitely strange. Don't miss out on the next King of Fighters like they did the last time. Like, that should not be missing. Because King of Fighters at least would be more of a mainstream look, because Guilty Gear is more of kind of like a anime style. But as good as the last King of Fighters looked, and this next gen one's going to look, they definitely can't be missing on that one. So definitely get with the Neo Geo, or I forget who runs Neo Geo now. Is it the Namco? I can't fucking remember. But yeah, definitely stop missing out like on these big fighters, because especially when they get another Killer Instinct, they could have like basically everything. They'll hopefully get Street Fighter back whenever the next one comes. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe, is just like how they're just keep missing and whiffing on the on some of these exclusive like Japanese fighters that are going to like the I don't know if that one went to the Switch, but it's like, even if they're porting it over to like an Android, because come on, it's easier to just go from a PlayStation interface to Xbox, like x86 architecture, than to a Android ARM like on the Switch. So there's no excuse for you not being able to just port it over, even if you don't think there's going to be like huge sale numbers. Like, there's going to be enough to make the port from that ecosystem, PC, PlayStation, to go over to an Xbox. Then, hey, we're going to port it to a Switch and try to like, bastardize it and try to get it to work on the, and run smooth on the Switch. So,
well, it's funny that you mention Guilty Gear, because what was it, like a day or two ago, I was seeing some articles pop up that Sony PlayStation could be acquiring Arc System Works there, which makes Guilty Gear. So,
okay.
I mean, nothing is set in stone for what I've seen, but that's the talk recently that they could be.
That makes sense. It makes sense because of Evo, that they, it just makes a lot of sense. I could see that happening, and it probably wouldn't be a lot of money either.
But I mean,
although if they're only making games for them anyway, then they're pretty much already there. But
but like you said, though, I mean, we do need some more variety of fighting games, and that would take away. And that's why I was disappointed to not have a new iteration of Killer Instinct right off the bat for the Xbox Series consoles, for example, because again, in 2013, Killer Instinct, the reboot, was this nice surprise that, with everything that was going on with, the Xbox One hardware and the reputation and the marketing and so on. I mean, again, I don't need to really go over that part, but the bright spot for Xbox was the games lineup. And of course, that's what matters. I mean, to me, I thought they had a fantastic lineup. It was, you had Forza 5, Rise, Dead Rising, and then you had Killer Instinct. Sure, it was a little loose. It didn't have that much content at first, but slowly it began picking up. And the gameplay, what matters the most in a fighting game, in any game, really, they knocked it out of the park, double helix, and that game had so much legs to it. That's why streamers and personalities like Maximilian, for example, were playing it, not because it was KI, but because it was a good KI game, and they really just knocked it out of the park. That's why I'm surprised that it's taken so long for them to find a competent developer to take on the franchise. So that's why, I mean, going back to the whole Warner Brothers and NetherRealm situation, yeah, sure. I mean, it would be great if they were to get NetherRealm to work on it. Going back to Centurion's point about WB and their own IP and how they use it, I don't know. I think if Microsoft threw enough money at TNT and whatnot, and how they're I know we had talked about this I think a few shows ago, about how they're just kind of restructuring the company with Discovery and so on.
So if I can, they're restructuring the company with Discover. It's going to be like Discover. It's going to be like Discover Warner Brothers Media, something like that, where Discover takes over the. How was it put? The creation, the entertainment creation side of AT&T is going to be put over there, because apparently AT&T has no idea what the F they are doing. So they have the guy who's in control over at Discovery taking control of all of the assets they use to create entertainment media, because of the success that they've seen from the Discovery app and everything like that, and the content they've created for the Discovery app. They're deciding to pretty much give this guy control because he seems to be knowing what he's doing, but they're the ones that want to reap all the benefits, because as you see, they're the ones that are taking all the money from the sale of Playdemic. And definitely, if Microsoft is in talks, the way it was put was Microsoft and their lawyers are going to be very tight-lipped, and if by some chance WB Games needs money AT&T needs money this bad, they're going to be very tight-lipped as well, because if any leak gets out, that could potentially flub the whole deal, and basically Microsoft could walk away and say, F this. So, that's where definitely both of these companies are going to be extremely tight-lipped on if they are in negotiations, because one little leak could cause all of a sudden all this hype, and all of a sudden one company wants more or less for either or, and that completely can screw up everything.
Right. And it looks like our guest has arrived. GeneralMLD, are you there, pal?
Yes, I am. I didn't want to interrupt you guys. You guys were going pretty good there.
How are you doing, bud?
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Hey.
Things happen.
We love you. We love that you even came on, even if it's 10 minutes. You're a legend.
Oh, go on, guys.
No, bud.
So, go ahead.
No. Sorry. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think of the Game Pass day today, and Twitter going absolutely bananas?
Oh, it's hilarious. I don't think anybody had any idea it would be this big, or it would be this huge. But hey, it's great. It's just hilarious how, the PlayStation guys some have a certain they just can't stand here anymore. So what do? We just amplify it times 100. You can't make this stuff up.
Pretty much. I think that was the thing, was like, some of these people were accusing media of taking money to influence Game Pass, and these are the same people that would make fun of Xbox guys for saying there's a media bias. But yeah, it seems like certain people, for whatever reason, they cannot handle the success that Game Pass is, or let's just be honest, let's call it the way it is. It is an awesome value. It's awesome for gaming. It's awesome for a gamer. There's no way around it. You can't argue. You can't. It's like saying, Cindy Crawford's ugly. It's like she's beautiful. There's nothing that you can say that's going to change that. And I don't know. It's just great to see that the community come together and had a little fun. And it really did get amplified to the point where a lot of big YouTubers and big people, just in general, were talking and singing the praises.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because like imagine if this was reversed. Like imagine if PlayStation had like the Game Pass model and Xbox only charged $70 per title. Imagine what the gaming media would be like then. So like some people pointed that out. Oh yeah, it would be brutal. It would be brutal. Oh yeah. So, but here it's like we got tiptoe around them, but no, it's a great service. Let's shout it out. It's just our honest opinions. There's no one's paying us. It's just great. The value gap can't be denied.
You're getting all those games, and then you're getting games like, I was thinking about it today. You're getting like Flight Sim, Ascent. You're getting Back for Blood. You're also getting Plague's Tale, Psychonauts. I mean, just
Flight Simulator. Like the list goes
on. The show. I mean, even the stuff that's coming. We all know about Starfield, Halo, Fable. All these huge games that are going to be awesome. Forzas, but like the third-party support's gotten really good. And there's a lot of games that are coming out in the next 6 months that I think are going to really impress. Shredders. Remember Amped? For Xbox?
Oh, yeah. I'll try it out.
That game is very impressive to me. Even like a game like 12 Minutes with like William Dafoe as a voice actor, and it's an indie. That looks really interesting. And you could try all these games, for basically $15 a month, or if you're doing the deal $1 for the month to convert. It's honestly, it's something that should be praised and should be put on a pedestal, because there's not a lot of things just in general that are great like that. So when something like this comes along and is doing what it's doing, it should definitely get the praise. And I'm glad that that's the way. I think people just come to their senses with it. They're like, hey, this freaking deal is, we have to praise this. And it's just nice to see it get its recognition.
Oh yeah. Like I wouldn't personally bought the Ascent or 12 Minutes if they were only on sale, but I'm definitely going to try them now that they're on Game Pass day one. And I said on Twitter earlier, like I'm going to break even on my Game Pass Ultimate with Flight Sim, Forza Horizon, and Halo Infinite alone. Everything else I play on top of that is free. And I've already played like at least a dozen games this year alone on Game Pass. So like, it's really crazy just how much people aren't talking about this more. Like the value gap, it's really that wide.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, guys, if the roles were reversed and Sony was doing this, like they'd be all over this, right? Like,
of course.
No, of course, right? And it just, they can't like. It just doesn't like really resonate with them, that the fact that hey, Xbox is doing something good here. I mean, you don't have to try the titles that are on there. I mean, they're just giving you more options to more ways to get into the games and more ways to consume the games and the media. But I mean, it's a form of jealousy, really, because they want that on their platform, but they can't help but talk about it. The fact that since their platform of choice isn't doing that, isn't bringing that for them. them, then, you know, all they can do is really just complain and bitch about it and be like, oh, ha, 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 you know, it sucks, blah, 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 look at all these terrible games. Well, no, in reality, I mean, you know, Xbox is leading the charge with this. They wouldn't they wouldn't be getting all these different indie games, these third-party games, these new third-party games, I might add, onto the platform. And it's just like there's more and more and more variety coming to the service, plus their own first-party titles for Xbox. And it's just like, if the roles were reversed, I'm just saying, like, they would be all over this. Oh yeah, you know, I could get, let's say, Ghost of Tsushima day one, don't have to pay like $70-$80 for it, so on and so forth. By the way, I'm not dissing the game, I'm just saying that, again, if the roles were reversed, they'd be all on top of this.
And, you know, not even to think all the stuff with the games that are involved that you're getting, especially with Ultimate. Yeah, it's amazing. But even the little stuff, like you get XCloud free, you know, you basically, anything that you own with Ultimate, you get all on PC. You get EA Play. You know, you get all those discounts and all the free, you know, playing the games, 10-hour trials before they come out. Stuff like Battlefield will be amazing with that. Madden, of course. You know, and the people were like, well, you know, it's quantity over quality. That's bullshit, because you're going to tell me that a $70 Gran Turismo 7 is going to be better than the next iteration of next-gen only Forza game? Come on. And also to say that, like, Xbox is quantity. Look at Halo, look at Gears, look at all their big releases. Just look at Halo. It's going to have a full-on multiplayer where it's going to be huge. It looks amazing. And then in addition to that, it has a full campaign. You're going to be playing that game for months. Game like Sea of Thieves. People are still playing Sea of Thieves. It's number one on Steam chart for most sold games last week with the new expansion. There's just no way. There's no, when you don't have an argument. The thing is that you just have to sometimes just take just give the credit where it's credit due, and I've always said that with Sony fans and their fanboys and the media people that really support them. You know, they don't like giving credit to Xbox. Where I do see a lot of Xbox guys, they will give credit. They'll say God of War is amazing. You know, Xbox, you know, get your game up. We want games like that. Even myself included. I remember in 2017, I had an argument with Phil about game creation. But, you know, overall, I just think that they have a real problem giving credit. There's nothing that you can say bad about Game Pass. It is absolutely the biggest steal in maybe consumer, you know, in consumerism right now. There's nothing like that. Deal is just insane. And I saw like Spawnwave Media say, well, enjoy it while it lasts, assuming that it's going to end.
Oh, I read that.
Yeah, all these weird takes. And it's just, to me, it's just like, come on, guys. You know.
Well, I think he had a take. He was saying, like, don't be worried about Microsoft, like, you know, enjoy this awesome, great deal, you know, this experiment, you know, if they decide that, hey, we can't no longer, you know, this doesn't work for us anymore. Well, either way, that's going to happen. Either way, you know, so enjoy the Game Pass. People that are like kind of, you know, just saying, oh, it's going to destroy the industry. Like the Does It Play Twitter account that's always like, you know, basically on like game preservation was in his thread saying like, this is, you know, a threat to, you know, games, you know, going, you know, just being subscription, then you can't buy them. Like, no, they're not taking, if you're that scared, guess what? That ship sailed whenever digital happened. So digital is taking over, so there's going to be less.
That ship sailed when everybody lined up in their garages to freaking LAN network their consoles. The internet.
Exactly. Yep. And you know what? It's silly. It's like Halo. Halo's going to have a huge custom collector's edition. They're also going to have play it early. I listen, for myself personally, they're gonna have whatever that Ultimate Edition of Halo. I'm a huge Halo fan. It's my favorite game. I grew up with the system. There's no way I'm not playing that day one. It's going to cost me $100. I do have Ultimate, but I'm going to buy it. So for people who say that they won't buy, people don't buy their games and this and that, that's not 100%
Just
true.
look at the show. It's still right
Yeah.
now. It's still in the top paid games. Check your Xbox Live store. I was like, what the hell? And Resident Evil's like way down there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that thing's still up there. But Game Pass, I'm sure, is helping like boost. Hey, my friend's on Game Pass. He has it. Let me just go buy it.
So let me at least, because we're on the subject over the quantity over quality thing. I'll just try to kind of capture how I felt when I saw that. It was almost like insulting, degrading. Like somebody's trying to tell me that I'm basically an ignorant consumer. And, you know, the funny part is a consumer's main goal at the end of the day is to have money left in their pocket, not hold on to some prideful thing that could completely bankrupt you. And it completely scratched my head because there is plenty of quality in the Xbox ecosystem alone, let alone Game Pass. I mean, let's just talk about the size of Flight Simulator alone. You know, let's talk quantity over quality. You know, that game right there is, oh my God. Like when you hear about how many discs did they say that it would take for that game to fit on?
I think it was like 12 or something. I don't know.
You know, that's what I'm just saying. We're not talking about very small, meager games. We're talking about games that come from all varieties of developers all across the gaming industry. There is total quality there. And I felt like it was almost trying to degrade any developer that puts anything in Game Pass. Basically, they're just trying to, you know, kind of shame on you for trying something that is a lot more successful than than we did it originally.
Oh, I will say one thing. I saw a similar argument where someone said like Game Pass was McDonald's and PlayStation was like eating a steak. And I'm like, I was saying to them, like, it's the same games. Like, is your version of Outriders better than my version on Game Pass? Like, do you have better frames and resolution than me? No, it's the exact same game. So, like, it's literally, I'm paying 10 cents for a Big Mac and you're paying full price for a Big Mac. That's the real comparison. So that's also how I feel about the matter. It's the same games. So those comparisons are just completely stupid.
I know. All of a sudden, Microsoft buys Bethesda and Doom Eternal becomes crap.
Yes. Oh, it's now too old. But The Last of Us 2, Last of Us remake. Everyone goes crazy for that.
Oh, you can't touch that. Oh no, definitely not.
Oh yeah.
I will say, guys, it is interesting since you bring that up too, because again, I've seen the Metacritic scores brought up with Game Pass as well, and I thought it was interesting because, like, just to latch on to what you guys were saying, you know, I've seen them degrade games just because the medium, or what was it, Minecraft Dungeons, Maneater. Like, there's a whole bunch of games, Blair Witch and so on. Like, there's a whole lot of games that are getting degraded just because they're in the service. I'm like, well, like, I'll be honest, I reviewed The Medium, for example. I thought it was a fine game. It's not perfect, but I mean, like, for somebody like me who enjoys those kinds of games, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. And not everything in Game Pass that they have there is going to appeal to you, so you can't really knock it for that sense. I just find it really weird. Centurion, for example, I brought up Maneater. I know you really like that title, correct?
Oh, dude, as soon as I started playing Maneater, I couldn't put that thing down. I will say that was probably one of my more recent gaming experiences. I couldn't put the controller down until I rolled the credits on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and that's fine. Like, I tried it out. I thought it was decent. You know, whatever. I know a lot of people are talking about that Dark Alliance game right now that's kind of buggy and so on. Like, I mean, that can be patched. Hopefully they work out the kinks with that game. I still got to download that and give that a shot. But it's just amazing, like, for how many games are in the service.
What were people saying about Maneater? Because you brought it up.
Well, it's just like they're using, like, I just bring up Maneater. Like, they were not necessarily saying anything specifically about the game, but I'm seeing the image of the game put up when they're comparing, like, the Metacritic scores, like 70 to 74, for example. Just the image, for example, that I'm looking at right now.
So
it's like,
No, you can go ahead first, Tim.
No, just quick. I just want to make this point. Like Dark Alliance, that came out. It's a multi-platinum game, and it's coming day one to Game Pass. People were making fun of it because it's a 59 Metacritic, and they were putting it down, saying this is a prime example of what Game Pass has. Meanwhile, it's $70 or whatever on PlayStation
Meanwhile,
5.
PS Plus puts Destruction All Stars and
Right. So
PS5 game that month.
Exactly. So, but go on, Centurion.
Oh man, I don't want to go off on a rant, but the whole situation with the idea. This is what basically. How about this? For a lot of people, change comes while they are kicking and screaming. The gaming industry is evolving. Some things just become old and antiquated. I mean, let's reaching out of thin air here. Let's talk about like the hotel industry. The old antiquated way was to basically sit down with pen and paper and check somebody in. 2021, we don't do that. Most people use the internet. They don't go in. Like, how many people really sit there and walk in and do all the stuff at the front desk most of the time nowadays? It's all done online. Just like how gaming is changing and evolving. And now we're seeing all these guys that, like, this immature kid who hopped up on IGN's freaking channel trying to push the agenda that Microsoft is no longer making hardware with his little fancy PlayStation chain. Pretty much we're seeing some of these gaming media sites that are going to go down kicking and screaming because they have become irrelevant. Some of the old ways of doing gaming have become irrelevant. There is new ways of doing it. There's better ways of making money. There is better ways for a developer to put a game out there without them killing themselves. So I'm just kind of sitting back and watching this whole thing unfold. And man, it sucks for those who really don't want this to take off. But man, look at today as an example. Just one day, and there has been more hype. Aaron Greenberg was on vacation, and somehow Game Pass started hyping.
Yep.
I blame Destin Legary. He did
it. Oh, he helped. He definitely helped. Yeah.
Could you imagine being Aaron Greenberg and you open and it's just like, hey, your marketing campaign for Game Pass went over well today. What marketing campaign for Game Pass? I didn't do nothing. I'm on vacation.
Can you imagine being this tied up in trying to make a point against Game Pass or trying to say it's okay? From our own, from whatever show he comes from, Colin Moriarty, inflation has eroded a shocking 1/3 of the U.S. dollar's value since game prices rose from $50 to $60. It's so severe that AAA game prices would need to be $80 today to have equivalent value. Even at $70 USD, gaming has never been cheaper in America. And that's basically, that tweet was right there, was basically because of Game Pass's value. So I got a kick out of that one. I had to read that on the show.
Well, I mean, gaming's never been a cheap hobby by any means, but I mean, I'm sure MLD here can agree with me. You know, as a Canadian, we, what we pay for our games nearly with tax, $90 to $95. Game Pass, it's really nice. Especially with some inflation going on. Hopefully, the damn games don't go up anytime soon. But those Sony games, I mean, they're basically like $100 now per title. It's crazy, man. And they look at us like, just because we like Game Pass. I'm not saying that I'm gonna Game Pass every game title or whatever. Of course I'm still gonna buy games, but again, if you're being more conscious about what you're spending and you have a whole crap load, you got hundreds of games, not just crap, you got all kinds of good first party games in there, plus you got the EA games in there as well that you can download. There's a lot for you to try, and there's a lot for you. There's a lot of good games in there. And it's a shame that people are just belittling the service just because it's not on their platform of choice.
Yeah, Game Pass is terrible because, man, your backlog, it gets ridiculous. You're like, well, shit. I got plenty to play. I don't even need to buy another game until, later this holiday. Like I have so much I need to get through, but yeah, it's ridiculous. But man, use those Microsoft rewards points. Make sure you add that rewards app to your homepage on your Xbox. Check that thing daily, because that's the thing that people should be talking about.
Yeah.
Of like, it's not sustainable. I don't know how they just give me money. Like, I don't understand. I bought 4 games. They gave me $20 back.
It goes beyond that. You have Game Pass, and then you have the Game Pass rewards through Microsoft Rewards. A guy I just watched today, touching on this whole Game Pass craziness, talked about how he played Descenders and a couple other games, and through playing 2 months of games on Game Pass, he was able to acquire enough points to basically get a full year of Game Pass without having him to put any money out of his own pocket.
Oh yeah, it's easy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, better yet, I wouldn't even waste the money. Do not waste your money, your Microsoft Rewards credit or whatever on that. There's plenty of sites where you can buy the 14 day and 7 day trial cards, which I did not, because when you read those things, it says like you need to be a first time Game Pass member, but it's not accurate, because they actually stack. So I was adding it up. You could get like a year of Game Pass Ultimate. It was close to like a little over $30, because there's people are selling those throwaways that get tossed and everything. It's like the dark gray Game Pass Ultimate 14-day trial cards, and I just stacked them. It took me a little bit. I used the app and just copy pasted the codes in there. Took me like 10 minutes or whatever to put them all in. But now I'm good until 2024. So
yeah, same.
And I did it for dirt cheap.
Same. Buddy.
When it comes to services like PlayStation Now, Xbox Game Pass, and also Xbox Live before they rolled it into Game Ultimate, and at least in my idea, the best time to do this here in America is around Black Friday and the holidays. I have my last card over there. I grabbed a stack of Game Pass cards where you buy, I think it was like 3 months for $25. So I just grabbed like a year's worth of Game Pass right there, and I just been putting the codes in over the year. I generally buy all my subscription stuff towards the end of the year, just to get the best value I can.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. MLD, I'm curious, because it's been a few weeks since obviously the Xbox and Bethesda game show. We had our thoughts a few weeks back. For the most part, we were pretty taken back and impressed with it. What were your thoughts on what they showed off?
Overall, I was pretty impressed with it. I wouldn't give it a perfect showing, because obviously, Contraband, Redfall, they were just announced, no gameplay. But I enjoyed Outer Worlds 2 being announced. I was happy that that's being continued. The highlights for me was Forza Horizon 5 being the graphical showcase that Xbox really needed, and now it's just there. Halo Infinite, they renewed the whole reputation. They renewed the hype. I'm a story fan first and foremost. So that story trailer, that cutscene was just absolute. It was just brilliant. Like how Chief's moving through space and is gentle with the Marines, or how his mannerisms were with the new Cortana 2.0 or whatever. The multiplayer looked pretty tight. It looked like Halo 3, but just taken up a notch. Like overall, but yeah, they announced 5 first-party games, if you count Starfield as well. Seen that in-engine trailer. It just like Starfield looks. I follow like Maddie Plays on YouTube,
yes.
And basically just Starfield has so much going for it. If you just look beneath the surface, that game's going to have so much scale. It's going to be so ambitious. I think it's going to be like what everyone's going to be talking about next November. So Xbox, they just got a really stacked. They just got a stacked generation. It's crazy. Like all these day one games that's coming out. Like I played Plague Tale last year on Game Pass, and now what? Plague Tale 2 is going to be day one Game Pass. Like I'm there. Sign me up. Like that was just their best E3 in several years easily. They kept the talking to a minimum. They solved all the narrative issues. They dropped 10 Bethesda games day one that very day to solve the problem of having games now. They released a list of all the games that are going to come for the rest of the year, time third-party deals, like what, 5-6 first-party games for every month for the rest of the year. So they solved the near future dilemma, and they showed a lot of games that are coming next year that are timed in first party. Like they just destroyed the no games narrative in like the
Stalker
best
2.
possible way.
Stalker 2 was huge.
Yes.
Stalker 2 looked one of the best games, and that's going to be day one exclusive for a while. It's timed exclusive. Back for Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Well said, MLD. They really did shut down, and there was, I think Xbox went into that, and I think Phil alluded to it, saying that, he sometimes, because I remember him coming out of the 2019 one, and they thought they had the biggest thing, and they were told it was going to be great, and he was super hyped up about that one, but the reaction wasn't there, and I think that kind of like, even when they had the showcase, the Halo debacle, so I think they went into this with a lot of trepidation, and they like basically exhaled a sigh of relief. And even me too, I felt that I understood where they were coming from. It was a really good show for them. Halo was like, there was nothing to complain about. If anything, some of the Halo stuff was like super impressive. A lot of the screen grabs that they were showing were super detailed, a lot different looking than what they showed. But overall, they hit on all those points. And again, propping up Game Pass to the point where people are just like, holy crap, this is crazy. All these games coming, to get Back for Blood and Stalker 2 and some of these other games day one is really crazy. Starfield, it was leaked early, which was kind of shitty by Washington Post. But what is that sitting at now? 15 million YouTube views. People are like super hyped about that game, and rightfully so. I like these people who are like saying it's going to be like Fallout 76. No, this game has been. This is their baby. This is the game that they wanted to have their 25th anniversary celebrated. This is Todd Howard's, next big thing, and when they've had these games, whether it would be Oblivion, Morrowind, or whether it be Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, just look at the way those games turned out. I think that's, you need a similar type of reception that you had from that. With the Starfield. I think Starfield, and also really good props to Xbox for pushing that exclusive narrative. They really wouldn't shut up about it, which I loved. Shows that they're really, they're really listening to fans, and they know what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, well said, Tim and MLD. Like, again, just going back to that show, yeah, pretty positive. Like, I'm with MLD with, I wish we could have seen some, like, we only saw some CGI trailers for Contraband and Redfall and whatnot, but still, they got so much cooking up right now, it's insane. We still haven't seen what, like, I was thinking that we would have seen Compulsion's game at the show. No, they're saving that. There's some other stuff that we still don't know about. We still need to see Avowed gameplay, Fable gameplay, some more Forza.
You're gonna have Game Pass is gonna be loaded next year too, because you have Plague's Tale, Redfall, Starfield, Deathloop, and probably Ghostwire Tokyo if it hits this year.
Well, even this year, as far as I know,
I think we're
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, we still got Darktide, Scorn, Crossfire X. Like, there's so much on the table that they still need confirmed dates with that are still supposedly still this year. But it's just crazy what they have content-wise. Go ahead, Centurion.
I just wanted to make the joke real quick that, man, if anybody's annoyed how hard we're pounding the Game Pass drum right now, wait till about Starfield's about coming out.
No, even this holiday when Forza Horizon 5
I know
and
Halo,
come out
everything.
back to back.
Might as well just call Twitter Game Pass chat.
No, it's true though. Like again, in about a month's time, we got Flight Simulator. Next month, the Ascent, and then Psychonauts 2, and then Forza Horizon 5 in November. We're still not sure about Halo Infinite's release date, but it should be around the same time period. It's gonna be nuts. And I'm not even including some of those third-party titles as well. It's like their content is insane. Like there's not gonna be a content drought anymore. It's insane what they have cooking up. And I'm just like thinking about, again, when I talk about Avowed and Fable, just their first-party offerings alone, and they still haven't revealed all their cards yet. It's insane. So I don't know. There's a lot to look forward to, guys. I know we talked a lot about Xbox Game Pass this show, but again, I like options, and it's nice to have it, and just again being able for these games to be available, just to download when you're in the service is fantastic. So I don't know. I don't see a problem with it as of right now. Anyways, I think it's a fantastic service, but to each their own. All right, fellas, I think on that note, we're going to end off things for the show now. And really wicked show tonight from everyone on the panel. I loved everybody's commentary. And, I gotta say, like, I know this is an Xbox-centric show, but damn, Microsoft is really on a roll lately, especially on the gaming scene. Like, all the Xbox stuff from the past month and so, they're still announcing stuff. It's fantastic. Great to see that energy continue. Everybody in the chat, thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed our banter tonight, or this evening, consider leaving a like, subbing to the channel, and sharing this out on your social media of choice. Don't forget to hit the notification button, because it'd be good to be notified when we go live. Again, we really appreciate your support. Again, fun show tonight, guys, and let's start off these outros, and we'll start with our buddy GeneralMLD. Buddy, I know you were only able to come on a little bit later, but we appreciate the time that you spent with us. We really love having you here. Where can everybody find your content at?
Thanks for having me again. Let's see. At MLD Ghost is the Twitter handle. GeneralMLD is my YouTube channel. And I'm on pretty regularly. Yeah, it's always a fun time talking with you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely, buddy. Let's see here. Centurion, buddy. Hey, good show as always. Where can everybody follow you at?
Yes, definitely a good show. Thank you, everyone, for turning out tonight. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It was an absolute blast. For those who want to find me, you can find me, of course, at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and, of course, Xbox Live. You can also find me every Saturday night on the Shop Podcast and every Sunday night right here on the TXR Podcast.
Damn straight. Tim, buddy, excellent show tonight. Where can the Xbox faithful find you at?
Simple. You can find me here every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you could also find me on RDX Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. And you could also talk to me, and feel free to hit me up. I talk to everyone. If you need a follow, I will follow you. Follow for a follow at XCloud Timdog on Twitter. It seems like Twitter right now is going absolutely crazy about Game Pass, and it's funny to see because, as you know, like we're kind of like now 2 weeks out of E3, and there's not much to talk about. But as you know, gamers will find something to talk about or complain about or go crazy about. Today was one of those days, and it was Game Pass's day to shine. But like I said on the show, and it was great that we really talked about it. I know that you said we went on about it, Invader, but it is what people are talking about right now. So great show and good awareness that we're talking about what everyone else is talking about.
Yeah, well said, buddy. Shockley, hey, buddy, always fun and informative with you here, man. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, as always, you can find me on Xbox Live at Easy Shock, and Twitter on at Shock Nero. And as I think Infinite, one of our prior guests in the chat, he kind of just did the whole thing I mentioned with the that Eniba.com website. I linked that in the chat. He just bought those 10 cards I was talking about for $13.88. That's 5 months worth of Game Pass Ultimate. He just scored, and he just is going to go stack those codes in the Game Pass app. If you wanted, be good till 2024 for dirt freaking cheap, I would get on those now, because who knows, when they stop doing those, or probably nix this one in the butt like they did the EA other people who take an EA Play and then stacking that, and then they kind of nix that workaround. But check that thing out. Definitely, if you want to stack your years, in case the price does go up for Game Pass, everybody's fears, you'll be good until 2024. It won't even affect you. So, but yeah, great show tonight. Glad that our guest got to stop by towards the end. We had to finish out this week, and then hopefully we can get some more. Is there anything dropping this? I'm trying to think for Game Pass at the rest of, or no, July's coming up, so we got the Ascent. I think that's our
the Ascent and Flight Simulator.
Okay, cool.
But
definitely hyped to try out that Flight Simulator, see how I hear that taking off is the easy part. It's the landing that people are getting stuck on, so definitely worth looking at trying that out.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait to see what adventures everybody goes on. Yeah, and I took advantage of your advice, Shock, a couple of months ago with the Aniba, so I'm pretty stacked too. So thanks.
Oh, did it work for you? Oh my god, I was just like, how are they getting these? And it's funny because you look at, they're selling the 3-month cards for regular price, like $25 on there, but the 14-day trial cards are like €1.07, which is like, just still a little over $1. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, pal. And to round this out, this is Invader, and you can find my content over at Invader Gaming on YouTube. Thank you guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight, and we look forward to and onward to our next show. Have a good night, everyone. See you all later.